What's going on, guys? It's Hrishi here, and today I'm going to show you how you can take normal photos and turn them into something like this. It's pretty cool, right? Let me show you how to do it. Let's go! So this effect is known as Parallax Effect. It's very popular, a lot of creators use it. It's a very trippy and weird looking but visually pleasing effect, and I really like it, and that's what I'm going to teach you today. So without further ado, let's jump in the video and let me tell you how to do a parallax effect. But for that we need to go and shoot some photos because yeah, why not? It's a beautiful day outside and I feel like shooting some photos, so that's what I'm gonna do right now. But the thing is, I don't really want to shoot photos in my city because it's becoming very boring, and let's try something different. How about a hill station? A hill station sounds good, right? Okay, let's go to the hill station right now, and I'll tell you how to shoot photos especially for a parallax effect. And yeah, let's go. I'll be right back, okay? I'll meet you there. And stay right there. This seems like a good place. So to be able to make this effect, you need to shoot photos specially for this effect. You cannot use this effect on every single photo. For example, you can't make a parallax out of a photo like this or this. So what kind of photos do you need? Let me explain. You need to have proper foreground and background separation in your photos, so that in post you can easily cut the line between your subject and your background and then make the effect possible. What do you think about this view? Let's take a photo, shall we? Okay, so those were some pretty nice shots. Now we'll go back home and then we'll edit these photos and I'll show you how to make a really cool parallax effect. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. That was a nice trip, and now I'm back home. So as I said earlier, you need to shoot photos, or you need to find photos that have a clear foreground and background. These types of photos are essential for the parallax effect to work, because if you don't have a distinct foreground and background separation, you will not be able to cut them out. So that blah, 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 blah. So now that we have our photos, let's go ahead and jump in the I don't know what I want to say. Okay, so now that we have our photos, let's jump in the computer and I'll show you how to make a parallax effect and how I like to make my own parallax effects and make them unique to my own style. Let's go. Okay, so let's go ahead and open Photoshop and our image, and then we'll just duplicate the layer by hitting Ctrl J. Now select the pen tool, which you can find on the left, or you can hit P on your keyboard for the pen tool. Now let's zoom in to the photo by hitting Ctrl plus. Then just start clicking on the photo and start creating these points. If you want to delete a point, you can hit Ctrl Z for undo. I am doing a very weird, messy job right now, but take your time with this. It can be a little complicated. To curve the line, what you can do is click and hold when you're making a point, and then just drag it to whatever direction you want. Just like so. and then you can adjust the anchor point by holding Alt or Option on a Mac and then clicking and dragging on the anchor like that. Now I'm just going to speed this whole process. I have done a very quick and dirty job, but I will suggest that you don't do it. Take your time, take it easy. You need the outline to be very neat and as close to the actual outline as possible. And then once you're done, just click on the starting point and it will complete the path. Then right click on your selection and select Make Selection. Put a feather of 0.5 pixels and that's it. You have your selection. Now right click on it and select Layer via Copy, and that's going to create a new layer with whatever selection you've done just now. And here we have our two different layers. This is the one that we selected and the original one. Now what you're going to do is hold down Control and then click on the second layer, the one which we just made. Then click on the layer below that and hit right click and select Fill. Make sure all your settings are just like mine and then hit OK. You have successfully disappeared. Now you don't really have to do this, but I do it anyways because I like to keep my edges clean. There is some outline over here, so what you can do is select the clone stamp tool or hit S on your keyboard, which will bring up the clone stamp tool, and then you can select a part of the image by holding Alt or Option and then left clicking on that, and that will select a part of your image which you can now copy on a different part of the image by normal clicking it, just like that. You don't have to do it this much. I just like to, make it more clean, and let's speed this up a bit because let's be honest, this is very boring. And then once you're done, this is how it will look. Now we are going to make a new document. So go to File, select New, and then select Film and Video. Put the dimensions 1920 by 1080p. We'll leave the resolution at 72 and then just hit OK. Now this is going to bring up a new document and we need the two layers that we've just made on this new document so that we can animate them. Drag these two layers on top of the new document. Since the resolution is less, these two layers are very big and we need to resize them so that they can fit the 1920 by 1080p aspect ratio. So what you're going to do is select both of them, hit Ctrl T on your keyboard, Ctrl 0 to zoom out, and then hold down Shift and click and drag to scale it down. To zoom in, you can hit Ctrl plus, hit Enter, and you're done. Now you need to bring up the timeline window. So go ahead and hit Window, select Timeline, create Video Timeline, and there you have it. Now you need to convert the two layers into smart objects, just like that. Now to animate them, we need to go to the Transform tab. You can see this stopwatch icon here, just click on that and it will create a keyframe just like so. I like to make my clips 20 seconds long. You can choose not to, it's not mandatory, but I just like them 20 seconds long. So let's stretch it out. Let's go at the end, select the first layer, hit Ctrl T, and let's scale it up a bit. So Shift, click and drag to scale it. Just like that. And there you have it. Now you can see here how I'm getting bigger and bigger as we move ahead in the clip. Now we're going to do just the opposite for the next layer. So just like we did in the first layer, hit the arrow, click on the stopwatch next to the transform button, hit Ctrl T, scale it up a bit. The more you scale it, the more dramatic it will be. Get to the end of it, hit Ctrl T and bring it back down. And that's essentially it. you've done your parallax effect. Now to export this, you can go here, click render video, and that will pop up a new dialog box. Name your file, select where you want to export it. I'm just gonna export it on the desktop. Make sure everything is the same and hit render. And once it's done, you have your parallax effect. Now this looks pretty basic and there's nothing wrong with it, but I like to give it some twists and turns to make it my own style. So what I do for that is I go ahead and import this video in Premiere Pro and then drag it on to the timeline. We don't really need the audio, so let's unlink the two and delete the audio file because there is no audio. And what I like to do is I like to speed ramp it. So I like to change the speed of the clip as it moves forward. So for that, we're going to right click on where it says FX, select time remapping and speed. Let's bring up the speed by, let's say 400, 350 sounds good for now. Maybe a little more will do. Let's bring that up a bit so that we can see this diamond shape over here. Now, just like in Photoshop, when we hit it, we are going to make a keyframe. Now, I want the clip to slow down at this point. So I'm going to make a keyframe over here and then drag this line down to 100. Now, the speed transition is very harsh and I don't really want it to be a super fine cut. So we can take one of these heads and stretch it out like that so that it can gradually slow down. Now, if you want the transition to be even smoother, you can select this and just rotate it like so that the transition is much more smoother. You can even change the duration of the transition by moving around the heads. Another thing that I like to do is add ambient noises. So since I'm standing on a hill, it's near a forest, I thought why not add some bird sounds, and that's what I did. I imported a soundtrack of birds and then I just dragged it onto the timeline. And another thing that I like to do is add music to this clip. Let's go ahead and import that in the project file. And this is the final product. So that was it. This was a very basic explanation of how to do a parallax effect. There are many other complications which you can do, but I don't really go that deep. I just like to keep it simple. I like to keep it aesthetic, and I hope you like what I do. Here is something I came up with the photos that I already had earlier. I just found them and I was like, maybe I can make something out of this. So this is what I came up with. It's a pretty cool effect and I absolutely love it. Whenever I want to just mess around with stuff, with photos that I already have, I'm probably going to do a parallax effect out of it. And now you can start thinking about taking photos, especially for parallax effect. And even while you're taking a look at your photos from your archive, you're gonna be like, wait, this photo might work very well for a parallax effect. So get those photos out of your archive, turn them into parallax effect, the 2.5D effect, whatever you want to call it, and post them on Instagram. Tag me. The link to my Instagram account is down below. Go follow me if you haven't already. So that's it for me today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!